State's ready. I'm Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney. Welcome. We are joined today by HPD Chief Guzman and his commander over sex crimes. They also have brought 2 detectives who've been working on what is believed to be a serial rapist. Defendant Eric Sims, 37 years old, has been charged with multiple counts of sexual assault. His predatory behavior with the victims in these cases, along with his NASA credentials, frequently mentioned to gain credibility with his victims, and his international travel, all are clues that could indicate further victims who are out there. And the purpose of this press conference is to encourage anyone who may have had contact with defendant Sim and been victimized. We're asking them to come forward. We know what a challenge it can be for sexual assault survivors, and we want to encourage you that whether a case is filed or not, both HPD and the District Attorney's Office offer victims support services along with advocacy. The nature of these offenses is so personal and so predatory that we felt it was important that we tell the public and ask the public to take a look, a long, hard look at Mr. Sim, and let us know if you've not just been in contact with him, but been victimized by him. The assaults that are charged involve 6 different survivors, and they occurred during a narrow time frame between 2019 and 2022. There could be more of you out there that this has happened to since then, and we want to offer our full support and encouragement for you all to come forward. It's important that Mr. Sim be held accountable for his actions. That is the responsibility of the prosecutors, who I'm proud to say I'm joined by our Adult Sex Crimes Division Chief, Jana Oswald, along with Tiffany Larson, and they work for Denise Onken, our Special Victims Bureau Chief. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Guzman of HPD.
Thank you, District Attorney Kim Ogg and ADA Jana Oswald, our law enforcement partners and media partners. I'm Assistant Chief Oswald Guzman with the Houston Police Department, and today we're here for the survivors, and we know this is very difficult. We stand with you. We will be here to empower and support you when you come forward. Right now, we know of 6 survivors in the city and the suspect discharged in all the incidents. The investigation is ongoing. We are working with the DA's office and our local law enforcement partners. We still need the public's help, I know if you know something, please contact us. I'll turn it over to Detective Houghton for more on this case and the numbers to call. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Detective Houghton. I'm with the Houston Police Department Special Victims Division. I want to start out by thanking and Chief Guzman, our law enforcement partners, and our media for being here today. As mentioned before, we do know our suspect. We do unfortunately believe there are more survivors out there. We know it is difficult for you to relive and to come forward, but we want to reassure you that we are here to support you, empower you, and help you as best as we can. As mentioned earlier, Eric Sim is charged in 6 sexual assaults at the moment. The survivors he has met on these 6 charges, he has met through dating apps and dating websites over multiple years. He frequently uses these dating apps to communicate with multiple individuals at the same time and is portraying himself as somebody who wants a committed relationship. Our investigation indicates there are possibly more survivors in the Houston area as well as across the country and possibly internationally. Our investigation is still active and ongoing, and we're just working to build the strongest case possible. If you are a survivor, please feel free to reach out to myself or my partner, Detective Korsiak, at 713-308-1999. 1176. And I will turn it over to ADA Oswald. Yes,
Give
ma'am.
your first name, last name, and spell for us.
Detective Caitlin Houghton, KATELYNHOWTON. Thank you.
I'm Assistant District Attorney Jana Oswald. I'm the Division Chief of the Adult Sex Crimes Division. I, as well as Tiffany Larson, will be handling the 6 charges that we have filed. We have been to court on these charges twice now. The defendant has gotten a bond by law and has made those bonds with very strict bond conditions. We are just here before you today to reach out to the public. If there's any other survivors, people that know other survivors, to please come forward. Even if you don't feel that what happened to you raises to the level of a crime, just felt that it was a bad situation, we still would like to hear from you and provide support and advocacy if you have any additional information.
All right. HPD wants to help. The district attorney's office wants to help. Survivors find that once they report and seek justice, many do feel as though they have helped prevent other potential victims from someone like Mr. Sim. So, as all of us have said, we understand the difficulty of anyone who's survived a sexual assault coming forward. We want to thank you in advance for having the courage to do it. These 6 individual women have themselves done exactly that, and we fully support them and look forward to holding Mr. Sim as accountable as we possibly can, given the sentencing range of the crimes that he's charged with and the number of crimes that he's charged with.
Question? So were all of these on the Hinge dating app, and did all these assaults occur in his personal residence? And are you able to go back into his dating history profile to try and maybe reach out to potential victims that way?
So all of the 6 were different dating apps, so not just Hinge dating app. All of the assaults of the 6 that we have charged occurred at his residence. And with regards to reaching out to various women on these dating apps through any sort of information we get with a search warrant, varies. Sometimes it is re-traumatizing for us to reach out to victims personally, unless we have other information as to why we would need to reach out to them, which is the reason why we're here and asking for those women to come forward so they can control their own involvement with law enforcement. Because that is also a very personal and traumatizing thing when law enforcement reaches out to them. But we will be looking at the evidence that we have and reaching out to any potential witnesses in accordance to the 6 cases that we have.
Okay, so no in terms of going back through the dating app too?
We will have the dating history, and depending on what that dating history is able to tell us, each individual app provides as much information as they can. We've never had an exact amount of information from every single app. Some apps are better at historically providing data than others, so it depends on what we're able to get back from those search warrants and what that information is able to provide us in reaching out to those other women.
Do you have any idea how long he maybe has been doing this, or how many potential victims there are?
No, right now we have 6 charged. What we have is 2019 to 2022. We do know that he's been on dating apps previous and since the 2022 date. All we can say is beyond that, we don't know.
Which is international travel.
Right, and he also does travel outside of the state, outside of the county, and outside of the country.
Are you looking for non-victims as well, just people who may have had a date with him, just to get background on him as well, just to build?
Right, if there's information that they can provide that they think is pertinent to our investigation, we would be welcoming that information. We want a thorough investigation in all 6 of these cases and any other potential cases that may exist.
Last I think we heard from you all, there were only 2 charges, and I believe he was out on a $500,000 bond for those 2. Has the bond changed at all now that you've got 6 total?
Not on the 2. So the bond on the 2 was $500,000 in total. And when those bonds were presented. The information that the judge was that we're looking into other extraneouses, that's in that paperwork. So that's the reason why those bonds were as high as they were. The additional 4 cases were put at $25,000 apiece, given that $500 has already been placed upon it. So he has a total of, terrible at math, $700,000 worth of, or $600,000 worth of bonds at this time.
Remember, that's $70,000 if it's surety bond.
Right.
It's 10%.
But the bond conditions are pretty extreme bond conditions on 24-hour house arrest and monitoring any sort of computers and things that he has.
In your time at the DA's office, have you seen another case of this magnitude with this many victims of sexual assault that you believe there are more?
Yes, I mean, Tiffany, I have dealt a lot with child abuse cases, and so typically what you believe there is there's probably a lot more complainants that are not coming out, especially when you get older defendants with a lot of pedophilia to them. Tiffany Larson has handled quite a few serial rapists in her time with adult sex crimes. And typically we know that when we have 3 or 4 charges, there's likely more complainants out there, especially given the type of behaviors and patterns we are seeing.
And it looked like only, I don't mean to say only, but that one of the 6 thus far believes she was drugged, or did I miss it? Were there more that believed they were drugged?
We at this time, out of the 6, only have 1 that would be an intoxication based offense. The other 5, there was not evidence or articulation of an intoxication based offense.
Do we know if the victims in all of these cases were from Asian descent or Hispanic or
All different cultures.
all different cultures? And do we know any other country, like for example Mexico? Has he traveled to Mexico?
We do know that he's had frequent international travel. I don't have a complete log of where he has traveled, but we do know he travels internationally and throughout the United States.
And can you elaborate on just how he was using his NASA credentials in his communications with the victims?
I want to be clear that there was nothing that he was doing like when, in relationship to NASA. He was just stating that his job and profession was as a NASA engineer, just like you would put any other profession out on a dating app. But we do believe that when people are have a career or an identity through something that's trusted as NASA or the DA's office or law enforcement or the church, that does gain trust pretty immediately just based off of the type of employment a person has. And we believe that was utilized in his dating history.
I'd like to invite Detective Houghton just to talk about the international angle.
Yes, to answer your question on the international travel, there is numerous countries that he has traveled to. Just a few we have is Japan, Canada, the UK, but there's a list, like she said, we don't have it in front of us, but there's a long list of international travels.
So we can relate to him as a human trafficking too?
No, human trafficking is when you are bringing people over across the county line, across state borders, across international borders for the purpose of monetizing sexual behavior or monetizing work. That's not what we're having here at all. These are simply sexual assaults. I'm not saying simply, these are sexual assaults. There's not a human trafficking component.
Do you believe that in any of these cases, or any of the victims are minors? Anybody?
No.
No. And
We
do you-
don't at this time have
don't
any
believe-
minors.
You don't believe that there might be minors, maybe?
From the 6 complainants that we have, they were all adults. They were all on the dating apps of 18 years or older age, appropriate age for him to be reaching out to them. They had been on a few dates prior to the sexual assault, all typical dating behavior. So we have at this time no indication that there would be behavior or interaction with minors for the purpose of sexual assault.
Could you spell the name for us?
Oswald, Oswald, first name Jana, Janna.
Have the women given any indication why they're all coming out now?
I think that's individual to each of them. I do believe that when one or more than one complainant comes out, it empowers others. It makes them feel not as alone in what they've experienced. Also, in my experience, victims have a tendency not to protect themselves, and they'll come forward when they feel they need to protect others. And so when you see one victim come out, others will come out, and it's more in a effort to protect other women.
And one follow-up on that for HPD, it looks like at least one of these case numbers is from 2019. Is there any indication that any of these cases were suspended for lack of personnel?
No, these cases are not part of that suspension. This is a totally outside. This isn't related to any of the backload.
And the 2019 case as
No,
well?
none of these are.
And
All right.
sorry, last one. I saw one victim, had a rape kit done, just one of the 6, the others did not.
No. So it is not uncommon for sexual assault survivors to delay in their outcry, and that goes for children as well as adults. It is hard to understand how the brain reacts to trauma, and each person processes that in their own time, which results sometimes in a delayed outcry. A sexual assault kit is generated within the first 120 hours, and that's what we call an acute, immediate outcry, and that's why we only have one sexual assault exam. It took the other 5 complainants a little while longer to outcry and process what they had been through.
Why put out the message to call in more victims? Is it to strengthen the case? Is it so that each woman can feel that they've gotten justice? Because you have a lot.
We do. We want to ensure that we have the fullest case possible for when we get to a point of trial or pleading the case out. I believe that would be what we are doing now, is to ensure that we're getting all the information. We're doing as much as we can in this investigation, utilizing the information that we have now to ensure that we don't have the strongest case. We have 6 cases that are good cases, but just to ensure that we have all the information that we can so they present the most full case to the defense in working the case out possibly, and then possibly to a jury if that's where this case is headed.
Any other prior arrests or convictions for this man?
No.
All right. I'd like to add something, Micah. When we reach out and ask for other victims, it is not to bolster the cases we have. Those cases stand on their own based on the evidence collected and the testimony of the victim and survivor, along with any other witnesses. But we think it's very important to offer people this kind of information, one, to prevent further victimization of women, and secondly, to not just empower, but to try and achieve some measure of justice for anyone else who's suffered at the hands of this type of predatory behavior by Mr. Sim.
While we have you here, could we get you just to maybe respond to the re-indictment? I know it's off topic of this, but of the re-indictment of Gerald Goins
Yeah,
today.
just, I will individually, but just to respect these victims and this group, I'd like to do that after this press conference. All right, everybody. Anything else? All right, good to see everybody. Thank you.